Rebuilding a Stuart 1010V steam engine Part 9, packing the first piston rod stuffing gland and bolting the cylinder in place on the standard. There was a bit of a problem, and the solution to this caused another more serious problem. More about that later on in the episode. I need to bolt the cylinder, which is going to be nearest to the flywheel, in place on top of the standard, not forgetting this bit. The lower cylinder cover contains what's called the stuffing gland, and once this gland is packed, I can either use graphited yarn, Teflon yarn, or even an O-ring to create a steam-tight seal so that the steam will not leak when the engine is running. Gland packing is very difficult when this engine is fully assembled, and for that reason it appears sensible to pack the gland when it's in this condition and easily accessible. In this case, for the gland packing, I'm going to use some Teflon coated yarn, and in this clip I have a piece and I'm winding it around the piston rod. I always wind in a clockwise direction, so when the gland nut is tightened, it's not going to try and unravel the yarn. After packing the gland, as I've just shown, I would always lubricate it with some steam oil. You can never have too much oil when you're assembling components that are completely dry. I think it's worth mentioning the technique for tightening gland nuts. The first thing you do is put it all together as I'm showing here, and then you really tighten the gland nut until you cannot move the piston rod. To do this job properly, you need something called a C-spanner, and here's a C-spanner to show you what it looks like. And at the moment I'm really tightening this gland nut, so much so that it's applying quite a lot of pressure to the packing, which in turn prevents the piston rod from moving. This is not a good state of affairs, I know, but the secret is, once you've tightened the gland nut, back it off a small amount. The piston rod should not feel tight, it should just be a snug fit and slide easily up and down. A word of advice from my experience: do not over-tighten the gland nut. If you do that, what will happen is the piston rod will become seriously scored, as well as generating far too much friction and making the engine run badly. Just in case you're wondering why the piston has two holes drilled in the top of it, well, this is the answer. I can use a pair of circlip pliers to tighten the piston into the crosshead. In this series, completely on purpose, I never mark the positions of the parts that are removed. That's because I want to show that sometimes things go together and other times they don't. The bottom part of this engine is very well machined, and the lower cylinder cover will fit on top of the standard in any position. I'm a bit concerned that the clearance of the holes is a little bit on the tight side for the bolts I'm going to use. After thoroughly lubricating the cylinder bore, I'm fitting it over the piston onto the top of the standard. Then I suddenly remembered that I needed to fit the gasket first, so I removed the cylinder, fitted the gasket and put the cylinder back in place. As you can see, the cylinder is a nice sliding fit on the piston. I think it might be a good idea to turn the cylinder round because at the moment it's the wrong way. That's better, the engine definitely has more chance of working with the steam port in the right place. Here I'm tightening the 4 6BA Allen bolts that hold the cylinder in position on top of the standard. But from a feel point of view, they are a little bit tight. I was aware of this, but I thought, well, for the purposes of this tutorial video, I thought I would assemble the cylinder onto the standard without any clearance whatsoever. I couldn't turn over the crankshaft by hand because at the bottom of the stroke the piston is tight, and even by using my electric drill I could feel that it was binding. I thought it would be a good idea to just slacken off the piston and see if that made a difference, and as you can see it certainly did. But even now the piston is not totally free in the cylinder, it's binding at the bottom very slightly. Because it's not screwed tightly into the crosshead, this gives enough allowance to make it tolerable, but that's no good at all because the piston would work loose. I thought that maybe the piston was hitting the bottom of the cylinder cover, and I thought that if I fitted a washer on top of the crosshead and then tightened up the piston, this would alleviate the problem, but it didn't. Once the piston rod was tightened into the crosshead, and in this clip you can hear the noise that it's making is wrong. There's only one thing for it: backtrack. I've removed the cylinder, here I'm unscrewing the piston, and now I'm back where I started. I could have tried different combinations of lower cylinder cover, cylinder and piston, but instead I thought I would enlarge the hole slightly to give a little bit of clearance for the bolts. I've already enlarged the 4 holes on both of the bottom cylinder covers, and now it's time to enlarge the holes in the top of the standards. You may be wondering why I've paused the video, but if you look very carefully at this image you will see why I've paused the video. I never saw this problem until I edited the video. On the left hand side of the left hand standard there is a crack. There it is, and it's very plain to see. I haven't done this, and drilling it out isn't going to make it any better. I can't just leave this crack, it needs repairing properly. Time to start drilling out the holes, and as you can see I'm using my Proxxon motor tool and I'm not enlarging the holes very much at all. I think this was a 2mm diameter drill bit. The hardest part was getting the drill to stop wobbling about as it contacted the existing holes. As soon as the drill bit started to bite, this is what happened. Time for a slow motion action replay. As you can see, it fell off, and when I examined the piece of metal that had fallen off, it was clear that this was not a new crack. When I had a close look at the parts, I could see that there was some rust present, and on the surface of the cast iron that broke off, and on the standard itself, the metal was a very dark colour. I'm not just going to use some super glue and stick it all back together, that wouldn't work. I need to clean the metal on the joints and bond it back together properly using some JB Weld. I'm not being flippant, but this break is not as serious as it looks. 3 of the bolt holes would secure the cylinder perfectly well to the standard. And there's even half of a hole left on the brake. So I suppose what I could do is put it all together and then at the last minute, before tightening the last bolt, glue the part back in position. But no. I'm not going to show the application of the JB Weld. The next video will start once the JB Weld is fully cured. That's it for this episode, and it's been a pain, but sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. Stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.